Alright, this is just a little sampling of the Barre Sculpt class. We're going to start in that first position on the balls of our feet. Our chest is lifted and we're squeezing those heels together. We're just pulsing up to, down to. So you're at your midway point, and then that is when you start your pulse. And we're trying to keep it within a small range. Really try to isolate those muscles. That's how we feel the burn. And it is mostly lower body, but I still want you to be very aware of your alignment, your posture. So you're still squeezing that penny in between your shoulder blades, knitting those ribs together. And now you're just pulsing straight down. So small little pulses down. Very small range of motion, just an inch or two. Gluing those heels the entire time. Just hold it here. So static hold. We're keeping that diamond position and pressing the knees out now. So the hips are not going anywhere. It's a static hold with your hips, pressing out with the knees. Well, not with the knees, with that glute med. So you're feeling that side glute. Pull that leg out. Taking a little break. And we'll go ahead and go to that second. So staying with thighs, going to that second position. So toes slightly pointed out, knees tracking over the second and third toe. You're in a plie, so that means the chest is lifted. And right now our heels are down. So weight is in the heels and the balls of our feet. And we're up to, down to, just how we started in that first position. Again, you're trying to stay in that mid-range. You don't want to come all the way up unless you really need a break. Trying to burn it out. Now just pulsing straight down here. Keep that chest open. You can always do this on a chair, on a tabletop. You don't have to have a bar. Very small, controlled movements. Even feeling those incisions around that kneecap. They're getting stronger with each little pulse and glute squeeze. Static hold here. So just holding it at that mid-range point. All right, lift that left heel, then the right, and start to pulse. So bringing some balance here. And you don't have to be at a bar, so you could still do this at a tabletop or a chair. Just adding a little more instability. Maybe you can take one hand off. Maybe you can take both hands off. Static hold. So just hold it at that midway point. I know it burns. I was very sore from this workout. Take a breather. Okay, so now we're going to go into our HIIT, so our high intensity interval training, go into the big movements, working through the entire muscle, doing cardio, so getting our heart rate up. This is where we really burn a lot of calories, burn the fat. We're just starting with a basic burpee. So I am sorry I did not show you modification here, but you can do to modify, you can step in, step out. You do not have to jump here. It's still a very big movement, so you can keep those feet planted. All right, going to that Spider-Man. So this one is really great for your waistline, for those obliques. You're pulling those legs out to your side with the obliques, keeping the hips down and the shoulders over your wrists so that butt is not up in the air. You're not rounding your shoulders. You're pushing away, but not rounding. All right, high knees. So if this is uncomfortable for your knees, you can always just bring it to a march. So just bring it to a march. Maybe you can do some jumping jacks. Maybe that's okay for that knee. Just do it feel safe. And by the way, we're doing these for 30 seconds each. So we're doing each of these exercises for 30 seconds. After the high knees, we'll take a breather. So taking about a 10 to 15 second break here. Now you have the option to just move on to the second bar series, or you can do this 2 to 3 more times. Okay, moving on to our second bar series. This is going to focus on our glutes a little more, the back of our legs, glutes, hamstrings. So we did that first, working in the first, working in second. Now we're going to get our lunges in. So it's a lunge with a hip extension. We're trying to keep our hips square, and we're lifting that left leg up with our glute and our hamstring. So you know by now, if you've been in class, that we do not extend our hip behind us with our low back. It comes from our glute, our hamstring. Getting a little cardio in here. So you can lift the knee up, add a little hop, or you can just keep that right foot down. So just bringing the knee up is enough. Wanting to keep it low impact, you would just take out the hop. A little balance going on because it is some single leg work. We're going to go back to some smaller isometric work. So you're making sure to bend that right leg, and you're doing a tiny little bend and reach with the left. So the reason we want to bend the right is because we want to get that glute work as well. So glute in the right side, hamstring in the left side. And you're keeping a nice long spine. So neutral spine, neutral hips. Bend that left knee and pulse that heel straight up. So really get into that bend. It's actually much harder to bend that left knee. It's much harder than you think it's going to be. So nice deep bend and just pulsing up. Little stretch, because that stabilizing leg is going to be where you're really going to feel it if you keep a bend there. All right, so now we're going to burn out that left side. So lunge and lift with that right glute, right hamstring, and you're trying to keep that right leg nice and long. I have a little tiny bend, but I am trying to extend it nice and long. I'm hinging at the hips, so this is not coming from my low back. So that hinge it's a little bit safer here. All right, going to that cardio. Of course, you can leave out the hop, make it low impact. We want this very controlled, feeling those pelvic girdle muscles. Bring that right knee up. All right, final little movement here. So bending that left knee now. Weight is in the left heel. So make sure, I see weight in that left knee, that standing knee. So the weight is in your left heel. Small little bend and reach. So it's not a big bend, just a small couple inches. Now big bend, you're keeping that bend and pulsing the knee straight up. And you can see my hips are staying square the whole time, so I'm not opening that right hip. I feel the hamstrings. I'm really trying to pull from the glutes, trying to lift from that pelvic floor too. All right, a little stretch, and we will go into our second HIIT series. So our second circuit here. We're going to try to get into our lateral body a little more. So again, with these exercises, you're doing them 30 seconds through and then moving straight on to the next exercise with no break. I'm going to take a little break when the round is done. This is just a little lateral lunge here. Very important that you're sitting into that left hip. Weight is in the left heel. So it's so easy to get the weight in your knee here, and that's not where we want it to be. So sit into the hip, lifting up with control. So it's not momentum, lifting up with that glute med and that oblique. All right, now's our time to really get the heart rate up with these skaters. I'm really working hard today, so I am. I'm trying to touch the ground. I'm trying to jump as high as I can. May not look like it. So modification, you can just do your sumo or jacks. So push yourself as hard as you feel comfortable going. Now we're going to do that lateral lunge on the other side. I forgot which side we did. Sitting into that hip, hinging every time you lunge, and lift with control. That's one of the biggest keys here, is lifting that leg with control. Most people kind of just want to throw it up there, and you're not getting all of the work there. So lengthening that spine to the ceiling as you lift up. You don't want to bend to the opposite side. Back to skaters to finish this circuit off before we take a breather. Almost there. It's just 30 seconds. We're almost done, ladies. And get about a 10-second break after. Okay, so you can do that 1 to 2 more times depending on time.